Well, good morning. This morning we read a series of end time parables that Jesus told during the last week of his life. Um, One of the key ones, the parable of the tenants, a landowner who had sent his servants to collect rent. They'd all been beaten and chased away, and finally he sent his own son, and they beat him and killed him and threw him out. This was a clear parable to the nation of Israel. God had sent them prophets who they rejected, and finally he sent his son who they also rejected. And then there's a series of parables such as the parable of the um, wedding banquet, the parable of the 10 bridesmaids, the parable of the bags of gold, the talents, and the sheep and the goats, which are all telling us to live ready, to live our lives in such a way that when the Lord comes, he will not catch us unsuspecting and unready. Live your life in such a way that when he comes, you will be found ready. So Jesus began to tell these end time parables. How would the disciples have perceived this? How would they have reacted to this? And how would they have felt as he told these parables? Again, especially with the parable of the tenants, alienating the religious leaders, the sheep and the goats. Again, the similar thing. He wasn't concerned about their religious rituals, but how they treated the poor, the needy, those who were in desperate trouble. How would the disciples have felt as Jesus began to tell these parables? These weren't rabble-rousing parables, getting people ready to rise up against the Romans. So how would you have felt had you been sitting there hearing them? How would your mood have changed from the triumphal entry, the cleansing of the temple? What would you be thinking now as Jesus told these parables? Amen.